Hey guys, this is just Being Real by Julia. Every now and then, I'll be giving you a bite-sized portion of pure positivity, as positivity always wins in life. Remember, I'm just here to have fun. I do not know what I'm getting myself into, but all I know is this will be a good vibes only podcast. I'm crazy, I know. But one thing I know for sure, it's better to be absolutely ridiculous than be absolutely boring. So, are we ready to have fun? All right, just make sure you subscribe and share, and looking forward to having you on board. Cheers! So, welcome to today's episode, and wow, sometimes I sit back and ask myself, like, oh, Julia, what did you get yourself into? But I'm actually kind of having fun. By surprise, I'm actually having fun. Anyway, so I'm just thinking maybe before I start an episode, I'll be giving a highlight for the day and maybe a highlight in terms of what has happened like in such a time, like if it's June, maybe last year or the other year or whatever, something that was really good, and just share. So let me start by what happened last year in June, such a time. So two good friends of mine, Tess and Sam, walked down the aisle. So today is their first year anniversary, and I'm just taking this chance to just give them a shout out, like happy 1 year anniversary. And of course they'll be here and share their experience, their 1 year marriage experience. So wait for it, okay? I promise. Anyway, so what I remember on that day is we had fun. I was the bridesmaid, of course, and hey, the face bit, my friends. If you want to see for yourself, go to my IG at Julia Award. Kindly remember. Anyway, I don't want to delve much into that. 2, guys. How cold is it? Where? One thing maybe I forgot to mention in getting to know me segment in my previous episode was I'm allergic to cold and dust. So it's not so much of my favorite period. Wow. And I was born in July, and I wonder, wow, how come I never got used to this? No, it's too cold for me. So let me just put it out there. But of course it's not dusty as it was before. That's today's topic is something that has happened to me personally, and also I know, and I'm sure that it has happened to, and if it's not to you directly, to someone close to you, can be a friend, can be family, can be just getting to know about it on the media and stuff. And it is about coping with a job loss, and also an update about myself, because I've been getting a lot of questions in regard to that. So today we're going to tackle that. So keep it locked. Call it what you want: being laid off or downsized, getting dismissed or fired, received your pink slip or your working papers. The bottom line is losing your job hats. So according to Kenya Economic Survey 2019, unemployment stood at 9.3% last year, with a GDP at 8.56 trillion. That's a big number, guys. Which means the population is growing, but very few people are able to be absorbed into the job market. At least 50,000 young people graduate from public university annually. Can you imagine? So they are graduating, but they have nowhere to go. Job losses have hit nearly all sectors of the economy, from commercial banks to insurance firms, manufacturing to telecommunication firms, and the hospitality industry has not been spared as well. Since July last year, so many Kenyans have lost their jobs, and more companies are intending to get rid of workers during this corona pandemic period. So it means by the end of the year, things might get worse. And I'm kind of feeling happy that right now things are opening up a bit, because wow, staying at home and being jobless can be hectic. So what do you guys feel? Are you still afraid that, or even like just feeling concerned or worried of going to a hotel or going to your favorite joint out there? Or are you ready to just support those people, the people who've been out of their jobs for like 2 or 3 months, Just let me know what you think about this. So last year, majority of us took to Twitter, me being one, to vent our frustration over the job cuts using the hashtags I lost my job, hashtag save my job, and hashtag our jobs matter. So I won't delve much into this, but what I would say, it is the responsibility of the government in power to give an environment that is favorable for businesses to thrive. And when businesses thrive, then it means more people will be able to start their own companies, and in the end, be able to absorb people in terms of employment, which is good for us. And I believe it's not even about even in just Kenya. Like right now, of course, Corona has happened. So millions of people around the world have also lost their jobs, sources of incomes, or been furloughed as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, which is so sad. And especially having to just deal with it and don't know how long it's going to take. Wow, it can be crazy. So how are you dealing with this loss? Being out of a job is tough, and many people experience grief much in the same way they do when someone close to them dies. Grief is a natural response to loss, so allow yourself to grieve. One thing for sure, our jobs are often more than just the way we make a living. They influence how we see ourselves as well as the way others see us. And even if you didn't love your job, it likely provided you with a social outlet and give a structure, a purpose, and just meaning to your life. And so suddenly finding yourself out of work can leave you feeling hurt, angry, or depressed, So you find most people will be questioning their identity, grieving all that you've lost, or just feeling anxious about what the future holds. Of course, you don't know what's coming and how long it will take, just like now with Corona. The uncertainty can just drive one nuts. So the stress and the worry can be overwhelming. But one thing I would like to assure, no matter how bleak things seem right now, there's always hope. With time and the right coping techniques, you can come to terms with these setbacks. And you can be able now to ease your stress and anxiety and just move on with your working life. So another thing also I would like to tackle here is just how you face your feelings. So let's talk about how you face your feelings. So everyone grieves differently, and there are healthy and just unhealthy ways to mourn the loss of your job. It can be easy to just turn to habits such as drinking too much or binging on junk food for comfort, and some, just like me, who have a problem of not eating at such times. Yes, that happens to me. But this will only provide fleeting relief, and in the long term will just make you even feel worse, like either lose weight for not eating or gain weight, So acknowledging your feelings and challenging your negative thoughts, on the other hand, will help you deal with the loss and move on. And this is just the bottom line here, and that's what I'll be trying to explain on how to do that. So how do we just do that? So one of the things I'll mention is you're supposed to give yourself time to adjust, because grieving the loss of a job and adjusting to unemployment can really take time. So what I will tell you is allow yourself a good cry. Rant to your friend and family if you like, but remember, it shouldn't be too much as well. If you feel the need and that can afford to do it, you can also give yourself a break for a few days or for a week or two. But of course, not everyone can, especially if you have a mouth to feed. So don't take too long before returning to your familiar routine. All right. So that's the first one. The second one is write about your feelings. Wow, this helped me quite a lot. So this is where you express everything you feel about being laid off or unemployed, including things you wish you had or hadn't done. But please do not be hard on yourself. Another thing is accept reality. It is important to just acknowledge how difficult job loss and unemployment can be, but it's equally important to avoid wallowing. That's why I'm saying it shouldn't be too much. So rather than dwelling on your job loss or the unfairness or how poorly it was handled, the ways you could have prevented it, or how much better life would be if it hadn't happened, try to accept the situation. The sooner you do so, the sooner you can get on with the next phase of your life, which is the most important bit, okay? Another thing is avoid beating yourself up. It's so easy to start criticizing or blaming yourself when you're unemployed, but it's important to avoid putting yourself down. So try as much as you can, no matter how hard it is, to challenge every negative thought that goes through your head. If you start to think, I'm a loser, write down evidence to the contrary. I lost my job because of the lockdown, not because I was bad at my job, or I lost this job because of a situation in the economy, and it was not my fault. All right? So to try as much as possible not to blame yourself. Another thing is think of your job loss as a temporary setback, Yeah, like most successful people have experienced major setbacks in their careers, even people with huge companies. But at the end of the day, they have turned things around by picking themselves up, learning from this experience and just trying again. And I believe we can all do the same. All right? Another one is look for any silver lining. The feelings generated by when you just lose a job are easier to accept if you can find a lesson in your job loss. This, of course, can be very difficult at such a low point in your life. But ask yourself if there's anything you can learn from this experience. Maybe your unemployment has given you a chance to just reflect on what you want out of life and rethink your career opportunities. Maybe, perhaps, it's made you stronger. I think it did for me. Kind of made me stronger. If you look, you may be able to find something of value. Like, for example, right now, during Rona, we've been given a chance to just be at home. This is the time to consider, wow, what's coming? I don't know how long this is going to take. Is this the path I'm still going to take if it's the same career you had? Or do you want to change? Do you want to learn something new? This has just been a moment to reflect. So I'm just hoping, I'd mentioned this earlier, that you're coming better. I know some things are better just being said than done, but while the widespread and unprecedented nature of the crisis means that you shouldn't feel any blame for your situation, there may be a little comfort when you're stressed about paying bills and putting food on the table. So it's easy to feel overwhelmed by uncertainty about when and how the economy, of course, will recover, or if you'll be able to find work. So it's important to know that you're not alone. Remember, so many of us are facing the same insecurity at this time. And it's not just you. It's not about Kenya. It's about the whole world. So don't beat yourself up so much, okay? So finally, how you must begin to just plan your future, or should we say, how do you move on now? After now you've faced your fears and everything, how do you move on past this? So once you've come to terms with all the emotional and the financial matter, it is time for you to move on, of course. You must decide where to go next, then try to just put all these emotional issues aside while you just address a number of significant practical ones, okay? So the first thing, of course, is money. Finances are a big concern for most people, because when you lose your job, you must figure out on how to provide for yourself and your family until you find a new one. So how do you handle this? Okay, so those are the things you need to consider. Then after that, you look at why you lost your job. Can be a different reason. Can be a layoff, can be a retrenchment, or can be you were fired. So if maybe the company was downsizing, is this a trend in your industry? Do you still want to stay in the same occupational field, or maybe you should consider a career change, Perhaps you don't have all the skills the new employer will want, but this would be a good time to just spruce up your skills and make yourself more marketable, You've been given that chance. You actually have all the time, okay? So like I mentioned earlier, millions of people, that is in Kenya and all around the world, have found themselves involuntarily out of work. Too often, of course, especially now, through no fault of their own. And with Corona now here again, it means more losses in the process. So what I can say, how you respond in the wake of this is what will set you apart from others when it comes to finding a new job or a new venture. When it comes to a successful job hunt or opening up a new business, attitude is everything. Just know that attitude. So a proactive and positive mindset will, of course, differentiate you from the masses, making all the difference in how lucky you get in an unlucky economy. So it will even determine whether you one day look back on this time with a measure of gratitude for what you gained from it, or whether it was the chance to evaluate your life, spend extra time with your family, teach your kids about budgeting, or to just simply reaffirm what matters the most. So it all depends with you. So one day, will you be sitting back and just be like, oh my God, I thank God I went through that period or that phase, or you'll be forever just crying it out. It all depends on you and your mindset. So Confucius said that our natures are alike. That is, no one likes being sacked. No one wants to go through a hard time. It's our habits that separate us. So we're going to talk about a few habits that are going to separate us from the pack, okay? And help you to stay positive when you lose your job. Remember, this podcast is about good vibes. So how are we going to deal with it? All right. I know it's not easy, and I know I sound crazy, and even talking about it and being this excited talking about it, thank God I'm talking of it having gone through the experience, and I'm just here to tell you, relax, and to tell you, you need to stop worrying, because the more you worry and the more you wallow into it, the more you make it harder for you to just move on. Okay, so this is an encouragement podcast as usual. Okay, and now to the point. So 1, you still need to stay future focused. So it's easy, of course, to just get stuck in the past and what shoulda, woulda, coulda happen, but did not. Doing so only brings out destructive emotions that will only fuel anger, self-pity, and sense of powerlessness. Do you really want that? I don't think so. So now is what you need to do is focus. Gosh, what am I saying? On the future, and what you need to do to set yourself up as well as possible on the job front, in how you're budgeting your money, and in your relationship with those who can help you find a new job. The first thing you must do is determine how long your financial resources will sustain you. Remember, the stressing beat always is money, money, money. So there's a package you come out with. So how do you make it possible for you to survive without having to deplete it in seconds or in a month? Okay. So then from then on, you will now decide if you want to look for another job in the same occupation, or maybe change a career, or maybe start something of your own. You never know. So remember, what you focus on expands. So focus on what you want, not what you don't. And don't focus on what happened. You cannot change a thing. You just focus on what's coming, all right? That's the first thing. The second one is, don't let your job status define you. Most people let this thing happen, but it's not the right thing to do. Okay, so losing your job is a very personal experience, but don't take it personally. I know, again, it's just easy being said than done, But what I'll mention is there's research that has been done and kind of concluded that the biggest determinant between those who succeed after setbacks of any kind is how they interpret it. People who interpret losing their jobs as a sign of personal inadequacy or failure are less likely, of course, to get back on their feet in their job hunt than as an unfortunate circumstance, or maybe just a small setback that provided a valuable opportunity to grow in self-awareness, reevaluate priorities, and just build your resilience. All right. So you define here who you are, not your job or a company's decision whether or not to employ you. So it's just about you and the decision you just decide to take now henceforth. All right. So rather than wasting your precious energy worrying about situations that just are out of your hands, turn your attentions to what you can control during this period, such as maybe learning new skills. Maybe you want to change your career, so maybe you want to learn new skills. Maybe it's writing a better cover letter and a resume that will just stand out, and setting up meeting with your network contacts. Remember, this is the time you need all the networks and all your friends, okay? Then the third thing you need to do is prioritize self-care. Yes, we talked about most people will wallow into alcohol, wallow into binge eating, or some of us not eating, but that is wrong. Mental and emotional resilience, remember, requires physical resilience. So to be intentional about maybe taking care of you and doing whatever it takes to feel strong and fit. And all right, so the other one is prioritizing self-care. So when one loses their job, it's so easy to just plant yourself on a couch, remote in one hand, beer or a bag of snacks or chips on the other hand, and just wallow in self-pity. So many people do, and it's fine, but maybe for a couple of days, or maybe if you go too much, like a week, but not more. So just remember, mental and emotional resilience requires physical resilience. So be very intentional about taking care of you and doing whatever it takes to feel strong and fit. After all, anyway, you have no excuse that you don't have time for exercise. And that's where I bring in the issue of exercising. Yeah, being a nutritionist, Anyway, so remember to always exercise, as it is a powerful antidote to stress. Studies have found out that it builds resilience, leaving you more immune to stress. Okay? So at the same time, it relaxes your tense muscles in the body. And then it also releases powerful endorphins to just improve your mood, trimming your waistline. Of course, everyone wants that. And improving your physiques, which at the end will give you self-confidence. All right, so which is just needed at this time as you're looking for a job. So kindly make sure you just get outdoors, go for a run, do maybe indoors exercises, or just do something that lifts your spirit. And here you're just aiming at exercising maybe for 30 minutes or more per day. Or break that up into short 10 minutes, maybe burst of activity, a 10 minutes walk as well, I saw guys laughing at some of us who are in TikTok. And this is also a way of relieving stress, just watching those videos of what people do and actually maybe even doing it yourself. It's really a good way. So maybe you find a hobby, anything, can be anything. Maybe you don't like TikTok, you can read, you can do farming if you have a small garden, not like us who lives in apartments. And yeah, of course that can be tricky, but maybe you can have those potted plants that you take care of. You never know. Just indulge into something. It really does help. Anyway, so remember, at the end of the day as well, you just need to maintain your balance. Get plenty of sleep, no matter how hard it is. Oh God, I'm talking about that. I'm the worst. When I'm stressed, I really don't sleep, but I try as much as I can. Then practice relaxation techniques, that is breathing deeply, doing meditation, and yoga for those who are up to it, Then, most important thing, eat well, Don't overindulge, don't underindulge. It's very important, all right? Then, on to the fourth point, which is surround yourself with positive people. Hey, I came to realize when I lost my job, emotions are contagious. The people around you impact how you see yourself, your situation, and what you do to improve it. I don't know how many of you just find it weird. Like sometimes you go to a place, you're hanging out, you've been called with your friends, and you just want to go there and chill, and someone wants to bring up the topic of your job loss or something that happened that is so disturbing, and it kind of puts you back. Yeah. So having positive people and having good friends who understand when to draw the line is really important. Or what do you feel, guys? For me, that's what personally I feel. So at the end of the day, I find myself being so intentional about who I hang out with and just don't get sucked into the vortex of those who want a marathon pity partying. I also don't, you sit down with someone and someone's just complaining from day 1 to day 10, it's annoying. So I also avoid such kind of situations. because at the end of the day, it just wastes precious times and energy. Far better spent getting back into maybe the workforce or just camping up with something. So just surround yourself with people who just lift you up. All right. Read positive books, like I mentioned. Watch inspiring movies, and let your family know that and understand, and at the end of the day, they'll understand that you've not chosen your circumstances, and just try and give them, that impression that you're confident, that with time and your effort, you will pull through. Because when you give up, actually, you make them give up as well, which is not good. All right. And be with them, it will just make you stronger just having them around to encourage you. All right. Another thing, very important, is tap your networks. The more people who know what you want, the more who can help you get it. Because the vast majority of jobs are never advertised. You understand the situation now, my friend. There's an adage that goes, your network is your net worth. And it's particularly relevant when it comes to finding those jobs that are filled via word of mouth. Reach out to people and enlist their support. Don't be shy in making these introductions or connections that can help you eventually. Whatever you do, never just underestimate the power of your network. So open up for opportunities and land your lucky break. You never know. Okay. The other option is treat finding a job as a job. It's a job altogether, I know. For anyone who's gone through this, they know that too well. This is all that. And what do I mean with this? Like we said, most of the time, most probably you'll find someone wallowing in their couch the whole day doing nothing. This is not allowed. So once the pity parting is done, you're supposed to keep a daily routine, because at some point you're waking up, reporting to a job every day. So when that doesn't happen, you can easily lose motivation. So create a structure in your day to just make sure you do something, because now you even have more times in your hand than you had before. So funny thing, you'll be amazed at how little you can do in a day if you haven't been intentional about what you want to get done. So you really need to be to up your game. And this is also the time to just make a list of all the things you like about yourself, including your skills, personality traits, accomplishments, successes, just write down projects you're proud of, or things you've done, or situations where you've excelled and skills you've developed, Revisit this list often to just remind yourself of your strengths, especially maybe when you find yourself, you're now going back to thinking too much or pity-patting yourself. This should be a reminder, and that's why it's just good to have it on a list. Okay. Another thing is reach out to stay strong and extend kindness, that is to family and friends. Remember, most of the time, the natural reaction at this difficult time may be to withdraw from friends and family, just out of shame or embarrassment, which is understandable. But don't underestimate the importance of these people when you are faced with the stress of a job loss and unemployment, okay? Social contact is just a nature's antidote to stress. So make sure you just don't push away people. So what happens is, most of the time, you need to look for a person who you can talk to. And it's just talking and maybe venting. It doesn't have to necessarily have, the person have to offer any solution. They just have to be good listeners. Someone will listen attentively without becoming distracted or passing judgment, As well as making a huge difference in how you feel. Reaching out to other people who can help you. They might not be able to help, but they can tell you, oh, I know someone, who can be handy when it comes to this. You may want to resist asking for support out of pride, but opening up won't make you a burden to others. In fact, most people will be flattered that you just trust them enough to confide in them, and it will only strengthen your relationship. And I need to expound on that, because when I personally lost my job, oh my God, I want to just appreciate everyone who came in to just stand by me. I kind of realized I have good friends, really good friends. And maybe one of these days I'll just do a podcast to just appreciate each and every one of them for having just being there. Even those moments of just calling and just asking how I am. Oh my God, that meant a lot. So, all right, enough of rambling. And also remember to extend kindness. Extending kindness can be even maybe you are laid off, or like for example when our company closed down, just taking a moment to call your friends, following up on them, encouraging them. And this will be a great opportunity as well for networking, so don't just push away people. It's good to keep contact, keep talking to them. It really helps, because when we just give our time to help others, it kind of helps us to stop dwelling on our own problems, because we actually even find people have more problems than us and realize, wow, why am I even complaining, in the first place? And you will just realize how much you have to be thankful for. People have been through too much, and this setbacks happens to everyone. It's not like it was just meant for you alone. It happens to everyone, all right? So yes, so those are the main points. How many were they? They were 7 that I wanted to mention, and just help or encourage you. I don't know how you feel and how. So maybe I should just delve into maybe my updates. So yes, I lost a job last year, and it was such a big blow for me. And my video that I kind of did went out, and in the process I came to realize there were so many of us who were experiencing the same situation and could relate to what I was talking about. And now, making it worse, Rona happened, and so many people are still at home. They're still jobless, because now which company will now even employ you when they're now even trying to downsize the staff and everything? So it's been really tough. But what I can say is I thank God that out of my video and my networks, I was able to get a job, and that's what I'm doing. And I never know, or I just never have words to just say or just to appreciate. I feel like it's not enough, and that's why I said I'll do a video separately on the people who've just been there for me and have held my hand. I remember when the video went out, I got, of course, both positive and negative. Of course, the feedback was more positive, but there were a bit of negative. The negative was, woman, you'll never get a job because companies do not like people who rant and everything. And it kind of made me feel bad, and I had to step back at some point. And yeah, it was just a crazy time. But now I'm back, and we're still going to talk about these things and how to handle these things. And if I get to hear of any job placement as well, don't worry, I'm going to share. Okay, so thank you for listening again. But before even I go, there's something I think I've forgotten. People or guys who've lost a job and have children, how are you coping? Are you talking to them, or are you just letting them be in the dark? Because personally, I feel like helping children cope with a parent's job loss is very important, because children can be deeply affected. I remember personally, when I lost a job, I was kind of moody, just lose my temper, and kids will feel this fluctuation of your emotions or your moods, and will be affected in the process. So it's important for them to know what you're going through and what has happened, how it will affect the family. Only just make sure you do not overburden them with so many emotional and financial details. I've realized one thing: kids listen a lot. They do and understand, because at some point I remember we used to go to the supermarket, and as usual, if he sees a nice toy or something to eat that is sweet, he would want. But now it got to a point, it's like, Mom, you ukipata pesa utaninunulia, which was so good. And one thing for me personally that I make sure is, when I promise, I keep up.
So when I get my money, I'll just like buy it and just take it to him and say, you are a good boy. You listened when mommy told you there was no money, but now mommy has money and here it is. And you can see it on his face, like he appreciates. So always keep up with your promise. Don't just promise and then let it go. No, keep it up. You'll just have somewhere to note it down, have a book. You have to fulfill your promise to your child if you want to gain their trust. All right? Yes, so I think I've talked a lot. I know it's a big topic to be tackled. There's more I'm going to talk about, but thank you guys for tuning in. Continue giving me your feedback, and if you have or want to leave me a message, just let me know and I'll tell you how to go about it. I'm also looking at people who have maybe experiences and want to share it. Like, for example, now I'll be bringing my friends on board to talk about the 1-year marriage experience. There are ways you can do it. So if you want, just hit me up and let me know. My social media pages, that is Facebook, I go by Awor Ayako, and Instagram at Julia Awor, and Twitter at Julia Awor. Okay, so you can always hit me up, you can DM me and let me know, and you'll find a way to do that. I want us to also, get to share people's experience. If you lost your job, if you went through hell and everything, let me know. I want to have someone to just encourage someone out there. If there's a positive coming out of it, also let me know. And like I said, we'll also share opportunities as well. So thank you. It's a lovely day or a lovely evening, whatever time you'll be listening to this podcast. Thank you.